Some engines are more than just metal and fuel. They are legends that refuse to die. While other machines break down, rust out, or fade away, these motors just keep on roaring year after year, mile after mile. Riders trust them because they are proven. They are simple, and they are built to outlast the very bikes they power. From Japanese workhorses to European power plants, we're diving into 17 motorcycle engines that earned their reputation the hard way through time and road. And wait until you see which engines still run strong after decades of punishment. Number 18. BMW Boxer Twin. This engine has been the soul of BMW motorcycles for over 100 years. First appearing in the 1920s, the horizontally opposed Boxer Twin is a design that has stood the test of time. It is not just an engine, it is a symbol of reliability, simplicity, and functional beauty. What makes the Boxer different is the layout. With cylinders sticking outside like airplane wings, the engine keeps its weight low and its cooling efficient. It gives the bike a perfect balance and a center of gravity. That makes even big touring bikes feel surprisingly light at low speeds. Seniors love this because it means easy handling, whether parking in the driveway or leaning into a mountain road. The feel of the Boxer is unique. Fire it up and you get that signature side-to-side rocking motion, a reminder that this is a living, breathing machine. The torque is instant, delivered in a linear, confident surge. It is not about high RPM screams. It is about smooth, unstoppable power that never feels stressed. That is why BMW Boxers have carried riders across continents, through deserts, over mountains, and into history. Maintenance, easy. The cylinders stick outside, so valve adjustments can be done with basic tools in your own garage. Durability, legendary. These engines regularly cross 200,000 miles with proper care. Some ride well past 300,000 miles. That is not an exaggeration, it is documented history. Cost? A brand new BMW R9T with the Boxer sells for around $14,000, while the iconic R125 GS Adventure climbs closer to $20,000. But used Boxers are everywhere. You can find a well-maintained R100 from the 1980s or 90s for around $4,000 to $7,000, and it will still run like a champ. The Boxer Twin is not flashy. It is not aggressive, but it is forever faithful. For seniors who want a motorcycle that feels solid, stable, and built to outlive them, the BMW Boxer is the answer. And yet, across the channel, there is another engine, one with Japanese roots, known for pure character and timeless style. Number 17. Royal Enfield Bullet Single. When you talk about a motorcycle that has truly stood the test of time, nothing beats the Royal Enfield Bullet Single. First built in Britain in the 1930s and later perfected in India, this is the world's longest-running motorcycle design, still in production. That alone makes it a legend. The Bullet Single, whether the 350 or the 500, is about simplicity. A big, slow, air-cooled single that just thumps along at its own pace, and it does not rush. It does not pretend. It is honest, pure motorcycling. Seniors love it because it reminds them of the 50s and 60s, when riding was simple and life was slower. Maintenance, almost laughably easy. This engine is so simple, you can fix it under a tree with basic tools. Need to adjust the valves? It takes minutes. Need parts? They are cheap and everywhere, thanks to decades of production. The Bullet is not a high-tech machine. It is a motorcycle you can live with for life. Cost? Still affordable. A new classic. E350 costs around $5,000, while a new classic 500 before it was retired went for around $6,000. Used Bullets? You can find them for $2,000 to $4,000 running strong. And if you think the Bullet Single is old school, wait until you see the engine that defined cool in the 60s. Number 16. Ducati L-twin Desmodromic engine. If there is one engine that can instantly be recognized by sound alone, it is the Ducati L-twin Desmodromic. Born in the Panta of the early 1980s, This 90-degree twin has powered everything from naked monsters to world championship superbikes. It is not just an engine, it is a beating heart that screams Italy in every revolve. And the price? A brand new Ducati monster with the L-twin starts around $12,000. Used monsters and older multi-stratas can be found for as little as $4,000 to $5,000. That means you can own a piece of motorcycle art without breaking the bank. And speaking of unforgettable, there is another European engine that rivals the Ducati L-twin in pure character, but with a very different flavor. Number 15, Yamaha XJ 650 Seca 4-cylinder. When people talk about bulletproof engines, the Yamaha XJ 650 Seca always gets a seat at the table. Built in the early 80s, this 4-cylinder inline motor wasn't just another commuter engine. It was a workhorse designed to take abuse and laugh at it. Yamaha engineered this bike for riders who wanted smooth performance without worrying about high-maintenance quirks. And the result? An inline 4 that is simple, air-cooled, and paired with a shaft drive. Owners brag about crossing 100,000 miles without ever opening the engine. Think about that. That's decades of riding, countless cold mornings, highway blasts, stop-and-go traffic, and this engine just keeps humming. The simplicity is what makes it so reliable. Even today, parts are still cheap and easy to find, which is rare for a machine over 40 years old. This motor is the definition of trust. If you want an engine that feels like it was carved out of granite and refuses to quit, the Yamaha XJ 650 Seca earns its spot on this list without question. Number 14, Norton Commando Parallel Twin. The Commando's power plant was a parallel twin 4-stroke engine, carried forward from the earlier Norton Atlas, but refined for performance and longevity. At launch in 1968, it came as a 750cc unit that pushed out around 60 horsepower, which was serious power for its day. Later, it grew into the 850cc version, which gave even more torque, the kind of low-end grunt that made it perfect for blasting down country lanes or cruising on the motorway. But what made this engine special wasn't just displacement, it was its character. The parallel twin layout gave a very distinctive beat, a sound that was rough, throaty, and full of personality. However, the big British twins were notorious for vibration, and that's where Norton's genius came in. The Norton parallel twin engine was not perfect. It leaked oil, it needed attention, and it wasn't as bulletproof as later Japanese 4s, but it had something they didn't: soul. Every ride felt like an event. Every twist of the throttle was a reminder that this was not just a machine, but a piece of British motorcycling history. Number 13, Kawasaki KLR 650 single. If there is one motorcycle engine that has become legendary in the ADV world, it is the Kawasaki KLR 650's single-cylinder workhorse. This motor first rolled out in the late 80s, and for over 3 decades, it stayed almost the same because Kawasaki knew they had built something unbreakable. It's a big, thumping, air and liquid-cooled single that doesn't care if you feed it perfect fuel, premium oil, or nothing fancy at all. It just keeps running. The KLR 650's engine is not about raw speed or high rev numbers. Instead, it's about endurance. Riders have crossed entire continents, from dusty deserts to freezing mountain passes, with nothing more than oil changes and the occasional valve adjustment. Many owners brag about hitting 100,000 miles without ever opening the engine. That is how tough this power plant is. If you want an engine that feels like it was designed to outlive its rider, the KLR 650 single is proof that sometimes less really is more. Number 12, Laverda 1000 Triple. The Laverda 1000 Triple was nothing short of a revolution in European motorcycling. In the 1970s, when Japanese inline 4s were taking over the world with their smoothness and reliability, the Italians at Laverda answered with something just as durable, just as fast, but carrying pure European character. This massive 981cc air-cooled triple was built like a tank, with engineering so overbuilt it became known as one of the most bulletproof engines of its era. At its heart was a 3-cylinder masterpiece, producing torque everywhere in the rev range, yet revving with an urgency that few European bikes could match. The most famous child of this engine was the Laverda Joda, launched in 1976. The engine's reliability shocked riders of the time, since most expected temperamental Italian machines. Instead, the Laverda Triple could handle thousands of hard miles, becoming a cult favorite among long-distance riders who wanted power, sound, and durability. Today, the Laverda 1000 Triple is remembered as one of the engines that proved Europe could stand toe-to-toe with Japan. It wasn't cheap, it wasn't common, but it was legendary. And when you hear that booming triple firing up, you instantly understand why the Joda and its brothers remain some of the most desired European classics in history. But have you heard of a thumper? One that brings nostalgia and comes in various versions. Can you guess which engine this is? Your bike probably has it. Number 11, Yamaha SR 400 and 500 thumper. If the Honda XR 650 is a sledgehammer, the Yamaha SR 400 and SR 500 are pure nostalgia with a motor that just won't quit. The single-cylinder thumper in these bikes is old-school simplicity at its best. Air-cooled, 2-valve, SOHC, with a kickstarter that makes you feel connected to the machine every time you bring it to life. This engine is the very definition of uncomplicated. No water cooling, no fuel injection in the older versions, just carburetors, valves, and a piston moving up and down. That's it. Prices today vary. A clean SR 400 usually goes for $3 to $5 grand used, while the SR 500, being older and rarer, can be had anywhere from $2 to $4 grand depending on condition. Either way, you're getting an engine that was designed in the 70s and still holds up in modern traffic. That says everything you need to know about its durability. But do you want one of those engines that just doesn't die? That just keeps kicking, literally, decade after decade? Number 10, Kawasaki 250 Parallel Twin. This little hero might not look like much, but the Kawasaki Ninja 250 has put more riders on the road than almost any other sport bike. Why? Because its parallel twin engine just doesn't quit. Built since the late 80s and refined through decades, this 250 has taught millions of riders how to ride and then kept running for years afterward. Performance-wise, it's peppy enough for city riding and highway sprints, though nobody buys a Ninja. 250 for speed. What they buy it for is bulletproof reliability, cheap parts, and near zero maintenance headaches. You can find a clean used one for $2,000 to $3,000, and it will probably last you longer than a brand new high-tech sport bike. Brand new, its spiritual successor, the Ninja 400, sits around $5,000 to $6,000, but plenty of old-school riders swear by the original 250. The Ninja 250's engine is a perfect example of how Kawasaki built something simple, affordable, and immortal. Small, cheap, eternal, exactly what you want in a forever engine. Number 9, Honda CBR 600 F inline 4. Before the superbike wars turned 600s into razor-sharp track weapons, Honda gave us the CBR 600F, and its inline 4 engine is one of the most reliable high-revving motors ever made. First released in the late 80s, this liquid-cooled DOHC 4-cylinder was the very definition of ride it to work all week, race it on Sunday. It had serious speed, smooth delivery, and most importantly, an engine that could take an absolute beating. This motor loves to rev. It sings past 13,000 RPM, delivers smooth power across the band, and still doesn't complain if you treat it rough. Countless riders thrashed these bikes on track days, commuted on them in the rain, and then sold them to someone else who did the same, all without the engine ever giving up. There are reports of CBR 600Fs going well past 120,000 miles with nothing more than regular oil changes. That's legendary territory for a super sport. Prices today? You can pick up a clean used one for around $3,000 to $5,000, depending on year and condition. When they were new, they hovered in the $7,000 to $8,000 range, which was already a bargain for the performance offered. If you want a super sport engine that combines speed with stone axe reliability, the Honda CBR 600F in Line 4 is the king of the class. It doesn't just run, it thrives. Number 8. Yamaha V-Max 4. The Yamaha V-Max is one of those motorcycles that gets whispered about in biker bars almost like a legend. And at the heart of that legend is its V4 engine. When Yamaha first dropped this monster in 1985, it was unlike anything else on the street. A 1,197cc liquid-cooled V4 with Yamaha's crazy V-boost system, this thing pulled like a freight train on steroids. Riders who own one will tell you, the bodywork may fade, the suspension may feel old school, but that engine just keeps going. What makes the V-Max V4 special is not just its raw power, but its durability. These motors easily push past 100,000 miles if you treat them halfway decent. Oil, filters, and a little love. That's all they ask. Many owners brag that they've never cracked open the cases, never replaced the pistons, never done more than the basics. It's a muscle bike that behaves like a Honda commuter when it comes to maintenance. Today, you can still snag an original V-Max for around $4,000 to $6,000 on the used market, depending on condition. The newer ones, built after 2009 with the larger 1,698cc V4, will set you back closer to $10,000 to $15,000. But no matter the year, the soul is the same. A monster engine that simply refuses to die. If you want a street bike that feels like you strapped yourself to a rocket, but will also happily chug along for decades, the V-Max V4 is it. But what if you want long-haul reliability with comfort built in? Well, there is one engine known as the king of the open road. Number 7. Honda Gold. Wing, flat 6. When it comes to engines that literally never quit, the Honda Gold Wing's Flat 6 is a religion. This is the touring bike that changed everything back in the mid-70s, and the engine is the reason why. Whether it's the early 1,000cc Flat 4, the legendary 1,500 Flat 6, or today's massive 1,800cc Flat 6, they all share the same DNA: silky smooth, overbuilt, and completely bulletproof. Ask any Gold Wing rider and you'll hear the same thing. These engines routinely clock 200,000 miles, sometimes 300,000, without even a hiccup. The secret? Honda built them like car engines, with horizontally opposed cylinders that keep vibration low and longevity sky high. Liquid cooling, hydraulic lifters, and ridiculous over-engineering mean the thing just shrugs off decades of highway abuse. Prices? A decent early Gold Wing Flat 4 from the late 70s or 80s can be had for $2,000 to $4,000. The iconic 1,500 Flat 6 models run closer to $4,000 to $7,000 used. And the modern 1,800cc monsters expect to pay $10,000 to $20,000 depending on year. But every single dollar buys you an engine that will probably outlive you. If you want a motor that's literally been proven by millions of highway miles, the Gold Wing Flat 6 is untouchable. But if you want something smaller, sportier, and still bulletproof, you're about to love the next one. Number 6. Triumph Parallel Twin. If there was ever an engine that captured the spirit of an era, it was the Triumph Parallel Twin. Born in the late 1930s and perfected in the 50s and 60s, this engine was the heartbeat of British motorcycling. It powered legends like the Triumph Bonneville, the TR6 Trophy, and the Tiger 100. For many, this was the motor that put the world on two wheels. What made it special? Simplicity mixed with style. A parallel twin-cylinder engine with classic British character. It was light, smooth for its time, and had enough power to feel fast without being overwhelming. In the 60s, this engine was the choice of rebels, racers, and movie stars. Marlon Brando, Steve McQueen, they were all riding bikes with this twin. It was cool, pure, and unmistakably British. Maintenance was straightforward, and parts were plentiful during its peak. And today, Triumph has revived the Twin in its modern Bonneville line, giving riders the chance to feel the same old magic, but with modern reliability. New Bonnevilles with the updated Twin start around $11,000, but classic originals can be found for anywhere between $5,000 and $15,000, depending on condition. The Triumph Parallel Twin was not just an engine, it was a statement. It said, "I ride because I want to, not because I have to." It was about attitude, about youth, about a golden age of motorcycling. But while the Triumph Twin defined cool, another European icon was busy redefining engineering with precision and perfection, the BMW Boxer Twin. Number 5. Honda CBR 1100 on Blackbird engine. If there was ever a motorcycle engine that mixed insane speed with everyday reliability, it is the Honda CBR 1100 Blackbird. When it came out in the late 90s, this inline-4 wasn't just fast, it was the fastest production motorcycle on the planet, hitting 180 miles per hour. But here's the magic. Unlike other high-performance rockets, the Blackbird didn't blow up after a few hard runs. Instead, it became famous for its butter-smooth power delivery and engineering precision that only Honda could deliver. Riders regularly push these motors beyond 150,000 miles, and they still run like new. The secret was Honda's obsession with balance. The engine was liquid-cooled, DOHC, and built with the same attention to detail you'd expect in a car designed to run forever. Maintenance was straightforward, and while it loved to rev, it never punished owners with surprise failures. Even today, you'll find used Blackbirds selling for around $4,000 to $6,000, and people will tell you they are still worth every penny. Back then, it cost about $11,000, a bargain for something that gave you jet fighter thrills with Honda dependability. If you want a bike engine that gives you speed, smoothness, and a lifespan that feels never-ending, the Blackbird is a legend. And as we'll see, Kawasaki had an answer to the Speed King with an even bigger monster. Number 4. Kawasaki ZX-14R Inline. 4. When Kawasaki dropped the ZX-14R, they weren't messing around. This wasn't just a fast motorcycle, it was a nuclear warhead on wheels. With its 1.441cc inline 4, it cranked out nearly 200 horsepower, yet somehow remained one of the most reliable engines Kawasaki ever built. New, the ZX-14R costed around $15,000, which for the performance it delivered was borderline theft. Today, you can snag used ones in good condition for $7,000 to $10,000, and they're still faster than almost anything else on the road. Parts are easy to get, maintenance is straightforward, and the engine's durability makes it one of the best speed machines ever made. The ZX-14R proved that you could have monster power without sacrificing longevity. But what if you want that reliability in a package that's built for comfort, distance, and smooth mile eating? This is what our top 3 give you. That's right. We're now at the pinnacle of motorcycle engineering. These engines will get knocked down, turn apart, but will still run forever. If you're still with us and want to find out exactly which engines these are, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Are you ready now? Let's get into it. Number 3. Yamaha FJR 1300 Inline 4. If the Kawasaki ZX-14R is a beast, the Yamaha FJR 1300 is a gentleman's bulldozer. This inline 4 has been a staple of Yamaha's sport touring lineup since 2001, and for good reason. It combines brute strength with calm, composed reliability that has made it a favorite among long-distance riders. The FJR's 1300cc engine makes about 140 horsepower, which is plenty to eat up highways all day long. But the real magic is how long it lasts. Riders regularly push these motors well past 200,000 miles with only routine maintenance, oil changes, valve checks, and the occasional clutch, and this thing just keeps rolling. It's liquid-cooled, DOHC, fuel-injected, and perfectly balanced for smoothness. On the highway, it hums along effortlessly, and when you twist the throttle, it pulls hard without breaking a sweat. It's also shaft-driven, which means less chain hassle and more worry-free riding. New, these bikes sell for around $16,000, but used ones with plenty of life left can be had for $5,000 to $8,000. An incredible deal for a machine that will outlast most riders. The FJR isn't flashy, it isn't wild, but it's one of the most trusted touring engines ever made. And while it may not have the brute force of a ZX-14R, it's the bike you'd bet on to take you across the country and back, twice. Number 2, Suzuki Hayabusa inline. 4. When people hear the word Hayabusa, they don't think of reliability first. They think of speed, of smashing through 200 miles per hour, of the bike that became a legend in the late 90s. But here's the twist. The Hayabusa's inline 4 is not just about going fast. It's about going fast forever. This 1134cc, later 1304cc monster, was engineered to handle extreme stress. And as a result, it became one of the toughest motorcycle engines ever built. Riders regularly log over 150,000 miles with no major rebuilds. Some drag racers push double the horsepower out of this motor with turbos, nitrous, and abuse, and it still doesn't die. That's the kind of engineering Suzuki baked into this machine. New, a Hayabusa will set you back around $18,000, while used models from the early 2000s can be found between $5,000 and $9,000, depending on mileage. But for riders who want the ultimate mix of earth-bending speed and ironclad reliability, we have a number 1 engine, a king that refuses to step down. Number 1, Honda Super Cub engine. At the very top of this list, it had to be the Honda Super Cub. There is no other motorcycle engine that has touched as many lives, covered as many miles, or proven as bulletproof as this little single. First released in 1958, the air-cooled horizontal single-cylinder motor was as simple as an engine gets. Just a small 4-stroke designed to start every morning, sip fuel, and run practically forever. The Super Cub is the most produced motorcycle in history, with over 100 million built, and that's because the engine simply refuses to die. Farmers use them, city commuters use them, delivery riders beat them into the ground, and they still keep ticking. The design is so forgiving that even if you neglect oil changes, forget filters, or just plain abuse it, the little Honda single finds a way to keep running. Many examples have clocked well over 200,000 miles, and in parts of Asia and Africa, these bikes are still hauling families, cargo, and everything in between. And they're cheap. A brand new Honda Super Cub C125 today costs about $4,000, while used older Cubs can be found in running condition for under $2,000. If there was ever an engine that truly deserves the title of immortal, it's the Honda Super Cub. This is the engine that taught the world to ride. It's the engine that proved motorcycles could be reliable, affordable, and unstoppable. And most importantly, it's the engine that will probably still be running long after all of us are gone. So there you have it, the best of the best engines to ever walk this earth. Which ones have you experienced? Which ones do you want to have? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, click on the next one coming right up. Don't forget to like this one and subscribe to our channel. You'll be glad you did. Catch you in the next one.